There we go. TKGM, everyone. Thank you for joining again in this Builders Hall cast with Union, Ensemble, and Alliance. We already had the Ensemble team before on the Hall cast, I think. And Alliance, I'm sure a bunch of you guys are familiar with her. To say Allied Layer, they're one of our partners in the ZK space and the Verify Everything space. RJ, I see it's like quite dark behind you. Are you calling in from Token? And are you
Yes,
tired as hell, or?
yes, but I'm leaving 2 days in one. So I spend like the whole night awake, sleep a little bit, do token stuff, sleep a little bit, and then come back.
Are you
So
heading back to Argentina?
yes, in 1 week I should be back after spending 2 months in Asia. I need to eat more beef.
Yeah, yeah.
Me-
Asia is good for basically getting the testosterone up, eating enough beef, and getting ready for shipping more products. And Shamir, how are you guys doing? What's new with Ensemble since last we
So, I
spoke?
mean, we're part of the our agenda today is to unveil a new product inspired by you. So excited to talk about that. But yeah, we're heads down, busy building. It's the startup life. I didn't make it to Token this time, but RJ, I am hoping to make it to Buenos Aires for DevConnect. So I assume you'll be there.
Awesome. Yeah, for sure. We're going to be locals. We're not going to miss the opportunity
Nice.
to chill
Yeah,
Buenos
yeah.
Aires.
You're gonna be the one showing people around.
Yeah. No, we will host a few events. So for anyone that
Oh,
comes,
awesome.
we can invite.
Nice, nice. Maybe I'll come by again. I was in Argentina a couple months ago. I was staying near the La Boca area in Buenos Aires.
Oh, that's an
Um,
interesting place to stay. Very exotic.
yeah, exactly. Might have booked the wrong neighborhood, but there's like some new Airbnbs there and housing there. That's quite nice. But maybe RJ, because you guys haven't been on the cast yet, give us a quick rundown of Alliance. I've previously like, tweeted about you guys and blogged, but I know you also have a bunch of like new products up your sleeve. So I'm super curious to hear.
Yeah. So thank you for having me here. And well, maybe many of you know us because we were building a CK verification layer, but that's how we started. And today, Aligned is not only building this infrastructure that the sole purpose is verifying proofs and batching them and posting on Ethereum. Now we're building a full stack solution on top of Ethereum in order to allow anyone to launch rollups and in the future any other type of application on top of Ethereum using CK and L2s. So Align today is an ecosystem of products that the purpose is to allow institutions and enterprises to do one click and launch its own rollup, wallets, and at the same time have complementary infrastructure that helps all of these rollups and applications run efficiently and in a performant way. So we now are targeting the whole stack.
Very cool. Does that mean that you guys are kind of starting to compete a little bit with like Eigenlayer and Eigencloud on this, but with maybe more ZK in the mix? Because it sounds a little bit
And
similar for an outsider like me.
I mean, it could look like that from like I would say a narrative perspective, but in terms of BD and the type of clients and the work we need to do is different because we're not targeting things like general computation. Basically, the process that we went through is we were building. Align come from a team that has been working in CK for the past 5 years already, and we work with across many L2s. We come from Lambda class, and we build a lot of relationships, and we understand very well how to build an L2 and how to build CK systems. And we realize that many of the people that want to build L2s and want to use them, they don't have the solutions to do a one-click stuff that uses the latest tech. So we're just targeting people that want to launch on top of Ethereum with their own infrastructure, owning the whole stack, but use it as a financial backend of a trust layer. So we're working with fintechs, people that work with governments for identity, and also governments that want to upgrade the, their protocols to Ethereum directly. So I think that our purpose is a little different from Eigen, and we can actually use their tech if needed.
Yeah, because the light layer itself leverages Eigenlayer restaking, right? That's how you derive your
Yeah, the first
security
product.
itself. Yeah,
The
yeah,
first
very
product
very
uses Eigen, but we also now have our proof aggregation system in testnet, and we need to audit it, and we can launch it on mainnet.
So that's proof aggregation without like attestation. So truly like
Exactly.
the ZKP verified on chain.
Exactly. Yeah, recursive aggregation, and we have it live both for SP1 and for Rig 0.
Very cool. Is that with what's he called again? Garth, right? I saw you guys.
Growth.
No. I saw you guys did an investment into this startup, like shortly after having raised for Alliance. You guys invested $1 million. I forgot the team name. They were working on proof aggregation as well.
Lambda invested in Electron Labs.
Electron Lab, exactly. With Garth is the founder, right? Or if I have the name
Yes.
correct. Yeah.
There are a couple of founders. I think they pivoted. I haven't catch up with them, but they were doing aggregation using Halo 2 at the beginning, I believe, and Gnark. And the way we see this is like building the infrastructure that we know that all of these clients that we have will need. Is we're building from bottom up, basically.
Gotcha. But it's not the same proof aggregation tech. What you guys have is like a new proof aggregation technology.
Yeah, exactly. We're using for now. It only works for CKVMs, and in the future we may add a few things if it's required.
Still very cool. Very much looking forward to that and playing around with it. And Shamir, tell me, you alluded to some new product launches, new stuff happening now. Now I'm like extremely curious. Please, what are you guys up to?
Yeah. So first of all, for the record, I don't think this is our second U-Haul. I think this is our first.
First.
Yeah. But it's interesting. But we did meet, right? And it was actually the last conversation that we had that sparked this new product. So we initially built this marketplace called Agent Hub, which the simplest way to think of it is it's like a Fiverr for AI agents or an app store. It's permissionless, it's framework agnostic, and people who are building agents or bots can essentially come, they can list their agent, they can categorize it, they can describe it, they can put a price to it, and then on the other side, anyone can come and hire that agent for specific tasks. So that was kind of the first product that we built on top of the Ensemble stack, and also maybe to take a step back. Ensemble, generally, for anyone who might not know, we're proud to be Union Fellows, and again, thank you for the stage, and thank you for involving us in your wonderful ecosystem. What Ensemble is an open, trusted collaboration and commerce layer for AI agents. So we build a stack that effectively allows agents to communicate with each other, to commerce with each other, and most of all to trust each other at the end of the day. Today it works. The primary interface is with humans who are hiring agents, but the long-term vision is really agents that are doing that. So that's maybe a little bit context about kind of some of the stuff that we've been doing. But one of the things that we've seen as we've had conversations, Karel, with people like you, with ecosystems like you, is really, or I guess one of the questions that people keep asking is, what can agents do today that can really, really help me? And what are some of the use cases? So there are a bunch, but we've decided to lean into this new one that we're excited to present, which is we've created an intern agent. So the simplest way to think of an intern agent, it's a knowledge base agent. And you could think of it as an agent that we've fed all of Union's knowledge base to. Everything that you, and this is, by the way, right, with a lot of iterations with you guys, we fed it a lot of your tweets, Karel, to kind of train it on, if this guy's going to be your intern, he needs to be inspired by your voice, by your brand, by what you look, your responses. And on that note, again, I'm really excited to share that today is kind of the unveiling of Karel's intern. Karel's intern is a X profile, which would you like me to share it? Could we just share it?
Sure. Right now. Let me.
Okay, let's go for it now. So I'm going to present my screen and hold on, share screen. Okay, here we go. Okay, right now we're on my profile, but here we go. So Corel's intern, both the PFP and the slide are inspired again by you. It's not a human. It's his first day on the job, right? And he serves you, Corel, and the Union Build ecosystem. So you can see here, if we go to the replies, I shared a few. I actually tweeted at him right before this call for over the last few minutes. And this is exactly kind of the conversation that people, Union's ecosystem, and the people watching this can expect. It's something between a DevRel / community, community manager / ecosystem manager for anything and everything having to do with Union. So this way, if people are searching for certain Union resources, or want to just like shoot the shit with this intern, they can feel free to do so. So you can see this is my account. I tweeted at it and I asked it, who do you serve? So he serves Union, and then he explains what Union is, or where can I find resources about the Mad Yaps campaign, right, that you have going on. So it points out to the Mad Yaps campaign. It's also trained, obviously, to deflect certain questions, right? So you're not going to get a lot of feasible answers about when moon, for example. But we have designed it in a very, very playful way that, I invite anyone and everyone watching this, whether now live or after this, tweet at it, try it out. We want your feedback. This is by no means complete. I'll even say the last mile has been somewhat of a challenge. Like it was almost there, but it's been almost there for about the last month, with all these different iterations. But this is it. So call to action, follow Corel's intern, ask it questions, and hopefully it'll be able to bring all of your knowledge base into this one place and kind of amplify Union's voice out there.
Very cool. I decided to live test, so I'm waiting for it to now reply to me.
Oh, right. Okay, so it takes about a minute or two.
Okay.
Yeah, what's up? Yeah, there you go.
Nice. There we go. I was already getting worried, like thinking like, how long does it take to reply? It's very cool.
Yeah. So it does take about a minute or two. But there you go. There it is.
Very cool. So I'm just wondering now, for people like watching this who think this is cool, is this something where like indeed like you can go on Ensemble and like I'm thinking, can I put together like a marketing team right now? Like, can I go and basically say, hey, this intern agents, if I prompt slightly differently, I could have like 3 mods on Twitter. Like
not quite. I don't think you're going to be firing Steven or Brittany
No, they're too good. I think amplifying.
I'm joking.
But yeah, is it like that direction where like a regular user, if you're Degen who thinks finally I want my intern as well, like is it there yet that you could like?
Yeah, no. So it's not there yet. Like at this point. So first of all, yes, one of the ideas is that this intern and the knowledge base agents that we'll be building will be available for people on Agent Hub as well, which is kind of the marketplace. Furthermore, people will be able to go and spin up their own intern. Right now, this is kind of a custom solution that we're actually offering, that we've deployed for Union's ecosystem, and we're actually working with a number of other ecosystems as well on deploying their own. My background, by the way, is in kind of ecosystems like you. I spent almost 4 years at Algorand, initially on the marketing side, then as head of Web3, which was kind of ecosystem growth and grants and partnerships and really engaging with our community. And one of the things we really like about this, because it really solves a problem, is A, resources are really hard to find. B, you have your team, right, Q&Aing all the time, whether it's on Discord, Twitter, Telegram, etc. This agent, by the way, it will be available across other channels. Sorry, I'm by the way, for the record, I'm after a 24-hour fast. I'm still fasting, by the way. It's Yom Kippur. So I need
Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
what?
yeah. But no, but to answer your question, yes, like we'll get there. We're not there yet. And on Agent Hub, we actually do have a number of different marketing agents that provide different tasks. But right now it's by gig, right? So you would hire each agent to do something very specific. Whereas in the very near future, we're hoping for them to work in swarms and
Yeah,
together.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, no, very cool. I definitely like would like use this for like marketing stuff, intern stuff, driving around. What I'm wondering is like on Agent Hub, I assume you guys are like using Open Router for me and technically paying for my tokens and like invoicing that through, right? So technically, I've kind of like a trust assumption on Ensemble
No,
to like
so
connect.
so actually
No,
you're running your own agent today.
okay,
So like you're using Open Router and kind of the infra, and what you're doing is you're listing your registry. We serve as that registry, right? So you come, you register your agent, you give it an you list its ETH address, right? And then from that point on, we're basically just that interface and that reputation layer. Once you have that registry, then we're that reputation layer that allows both the discovery, the communication, and the hiring of that agent through us, through our infra.
gotcha. Because my thoughts immediately go to, can I give an agent like financial capabilities, right? Like I see a bunch like being written right now on like agentic payments, right? That's what, like
Yeah,
Stripe
yeah,
and
yeah.
Coinbase are mainly up to. But
X402.
next thing,
Yeah,
yeah, next thing my mind then goes to is like, what if the agent I hired, like the person who wrote it, takes over control of that agent, right? Because I tell it like, go play around with 10k USD. Initially, it is indeed like ChatGPT that's controlling the agent, but then the original builder realizes, hey, like here's an account that technically controls all of it. I can just hijack it. Um, there's like the like these like a lot of people talked about this about 6 months ago, like verifiable agents, right? As
yeah,
a way to basically prevent this from happening, where like you continuously know like every single output indeed came from ChatGPT and not from a man in the middle. I'm not sure how that space has progressed myself. Like I haven't followed too much on verifiable agents and where we're heading there. Not sure if you, RJ, if like with the kind of Alliance ZK site and verification site, if that's something that you originally explored or that you guys see as an up and coming maybe source of like proofs that need to be verified.
Yeah, we one of the things we have in our manifesto is that we believe SIG is going to be used a lot in AI. Today is still a little slow, maybe for some of these use cases, but I think we will get there. Because if you as a user, if you have or you need to rent one of these agents, how can you trust it's actually running the code that it should, or it does not get hacked? So we believe it's going to be very useful, and we know a couple of teams trying to solve all of this, and especially if we're going to allow them to have a lot of control on stuff. I think every developer is concerned about having wild code running with the wallets of people. So it's going to be very much needed.
Yeah, yeah, and so my guess is, but I'm not an expert on this, that basically like proving inference right now is like the expensive part, right? And for people listening, so inference is the portion where like the model's already trained, and now like normally OpenAI has a bunch of GPUs, your requests come in, and they basically run the model on your input to get an output. And that's the process that normally we would like to generate a zero knowledge proof for, because then we'd have like a proof that indeed like that exact model was used. So it's very useful, for example, if you wonder like I'm paying for Claude 4.5, but the output seems like significantly worse. Are they actually running Claude 4.5, or did they secretly like downgrade me to 3.7 to save costs? Right, with all CKP you should know for sure. But also like if you want to know for sure, like did the AI decide to do these financial transactions and not the developer who built the agents? The ZKPs work the same. But at least like for me, like inference already like is massively compute intensive, right? Like that's why they need those like massive NVIDIA GPUs. Do you know how far away we are from being able to like prove inference at a, like in a reasonable time? Is that something in like the next year or the next decades?
I think in the next 5 years for sure. I don't know if the next year. We know a lot of teams are working on this. I'm not an expert in AI, so this is what I'm a heuristic on the smart people I know that are working on solving the problem. So I guess at some point we will get there. Um, and there's a very good team actually in Ethereum and particularly in the base ecosystem called Giza. They use AI for automating and trying to get the best yield on stable coins or different DeFi strategies. And they come from a background of CKML, meaning using scenario proofs for machine learning. And why do they need it? Because in order to improve their protocol and make it more trustless and more secure, what they need is a way to prove to a smart contract that the model they're running is actually correct, and the output that they're putting for the user in order to move the money of the vault around is what it should. And they're working on many of these products using Star Wars tech. I don't know how far is it from production, but they are one of the best teams in this, because they are not only using just the CK part, but they already have a working product in DeFi, and they know exactly which part they need to solve to build a better product, not just use CK for machine learning for the sake of doing good tech. And they are using this as a tool to improve the great product they already have.
Yeah, it makes sense. Um, do
And
you see this as an issue in like the ensemble marketplace, where you think right now like people might not be using an agent because of this, or do you think actually like users don't care yet about this and there's
yeah,
like,
and to RJ's point, I think we're still in the sandbox, right? There's a lot of experimentation going on. I think there is still a chasm to cross when it comes to being able to trust agents, and to RJ's point, and I guess to your question, when it comes to verification, we're still not there. We've been working with the Eigen Cloud team for the last over 6 months on using their tech stack. And I think when you kind of look at where the market is right now, you have all these primitives, all these, effectively brand new standards, whether it's X402, which is old but being kind of revived for payments. Or whether it's ERC 8004, if for the viewers who might not have heard of it, that's a new standard that the Ethereum Foundation just a couple weeks ago kind of announced they're creating a team for. And ERC 8004 is really about identity, right? And being able to provide this kind of open, trustless identity layer for AI agents. So to answer your question, Karel, on Agent Hub right now, first of all, we're still in kind of a live private beta. It's not public. I do invite anyone and everyone. Maybe if it's all right, I'll drop the link here, and you guys can share it. Go sign up, and then we'll provide we'll whitelist your address so that you can try it out. We're actively looking for that feedback, but we're not yet at that place, Karel, 100%, where people are going to be trusting these agents with millions of dollars, and kind of set and forget. We're definitely not there.
yeah, I wonder indeed like when we're going to see that and what the type of transactions are that we'll see them do. Like somewhere instinctually, I'd like want to definitely see like my intern like trade up some shit coins, right? Or at least like vibe with people in the comments and see if they're maybe able to work the intern, or if the intern can do the opposite. Um, but I'm not sure like outside of that, like what are some like immediate things where I see indeed like agentic payments. Definitely like if I were to write software, right? I've had like backend services and agents were to use them. I would love to like charge them constantly. So I really see the use case on that point. But conversely with like regular users trusting them with money, I'm not sure if I can list that many use cases yet. At the same time, like the moment I feel like with AI, when the technology is good enough, people basically cave like the next hour almost. Initially, I didn't want to run like a terminal agent to do coding at all. Right? I thought it was like too crazy to give just wide access to an agent. And then I saw like how good it was. And basically the next day I was like, all right, like go ahead, do whatever you want. Because it increased
And
productivity.
yeah, like and at this point, I guess, where are you at now with that?
Yeah, that's exactly the point. I'm now at the
Yeah.
point where I like I built like a little like a Telegram MCP server. So I'm at the point where I'll tell the agent like DNS people and tell them to schedule something, etc. Where I have it like do messages for me and all of that. So I guess like payments would be like the next frontier to convince users. Oh yeah, I see you share the code, so I'll drop that on Twitter for people to play. Is it okay after the Hallcast? I share the Ensemble URL, Shamir? Or
Absolutely. Yeah,
will do.
appreciate it.
All right, yes, very cool. So we're gonna play around with that. And what's next then post this? Are you guys like running to get the like intern agents into like wider availability? Are there like new agents that you're excited about to build?
Yeah. So right now, I mean, for the last month, look, we're a small team, and we're really leaning towards where we're seeing some of the, again, potential. For we're leaning into intern agent. We're looking to deploy it across some other ecosystems that we're talking to, and we're also working on both kind of refining the back end, right? So being able to scale it. I think at a certain point we want it to be self-serve, just like you said, right? That anyone can come and spin up their own intern agent just simply by filling a form. We want it to be as easy as that. But in the meantime, again, it's kind of case by case deployment, very, very customized. And we're also looking to make it available on other channels that people in Web3 use, like Telegram, like Discord. We're probably going to be starting there. So yeah, again, Union, your agent, Corral's agent, intern is the first, and we're really excited to see if people will be, or how people will be testing him. We do expect a reasonable amount of trolling as well, by the way. So let's see how it's stress test, and let's see how it stands through those stress tests.
Yeah, I kind of like, and feel free to interrupt as well, RJ, if you have an opinion on this, but I kind of on the one that like it because like it pushes forward what previously felt impossible. At the same time, like, are we turning like Twitter, Telegram, etc. into slop? Like is this a net positive overall with where we're pushing our public spaces? Not sure. If you have an opinion on that, RJ, or anything else, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I think it's maybe people will think I'm a doomer, but I think with all of this stuff, we are accelerating the process of Twitter dying. For
You
now,
do?
it's like fun. Yeah, I think at some point
Go
it
ahead.
will die because I'm. It's not that I don't like AI. I'm a pretty hardcore user of AI. I use it a lot for many things specific, and then I wish I had a Nokia 410 and for a while and escape because it's constantly the two things at the same time. And I think it will happen because I don't know if you feel the same. I miss the old internet in the sense that everything looks so gamed now that I think at some point everyone will be saying, okay, this is no longer a social network because I no longer know if I'm interacting with another human being or I'm interacting with a swarm of AI agents. And I think that's where also CK and some of the Ethereum stuff is going to be is going to be very important because I think people will demand to be sure they're interacting with actual human beings. And I think the identity component of solving this not only for agents, because maybe when you buy something you want to be sure that it's actually the agent and the quota you want, but also to make sure you have a space where you can interact and coordinate with actual humans and gatekeeping any other kind of stuff. I think that's going to be very, very much needed and it's going to be in demand as well.
Your mic is not
Yeah.
working. Yeah, I'm not sure what's happening. But I agree with you, RJ, on this. For me, at least, like I almost feel like soon we're going to enter the era where we have a bunch of AIs produce slop on Twitter, and then a bunch of AIs to like digest that and tell me like what's the
Yeah.
similarity of this. And so it becomes almost like a game of Chinese whispers, where you and I are technically tweeting at each other, but we're doing that through like layers and layers of like intermediaries, transformers that basically slightly alter what we're saying. I think you already see that on Twitter a lot. It was like Reunion did like the Kaito campaign, and there's definitely like a swarm of bots that will immediately participate. There's I think even many users who like try to farm yaps and will like basically make Grok write their posts for them. So overall, for me at least, like that's a net negative for Twitter itself. Because even though maybe a regular user doesn't write as eloquently as Grok or ChatGPT, it's still, I feel, better to have like access to the like
Yeah,
unfiltered stream of thoughts versus yeah, the highly like curated kind of like every message being almost the same type content that we see right now. And I wonder if like we'll never get that back, right? Like maybe like we said, like the old internet before we even like really had social media, right? Like pre MySpace era, like had something like magical to it that at some point went away and kind of like never came back. And maybe like the era of like social media where at least like we had accounts to interact with people, maybe that's like on its way out slowly as well. But that gets very philosophical and very depressing quickly.
no, but at the same time, sorry, Shamir, I think you're still muted. If you try to,
Yeah,
not
yeah,
working.
your
What
mic
about
broke, I
now?
think.
Testing,
Ah,
testing.
Now we can.
All right,
Yeah.
I switch from this to this. No, I mean, I was going to agree with you. And Corral, you basically said it. I like it is getting very convoluted and very murky, right? Just that like there's a gray zone almost, right? Because you have things that are completely autonomous, and then you have humans, and then in the middle you have all these kind of interpretations, right, or mixes, or I might tell the agent, I might give it some guidelines, but then it might it might take off it. So I think the key is really about transparency, and it's about having technology that's able to somehow differentiate or maybe tag what it is that I'm interacting
Yeah.
with. I think that's going to get more and more important. I totally agree.
yeah, so does that mean that kind of like every single like AI response needs to be like verified and every single like what do you do for humans then? Like I get like if you have like someone who built an agent who wants people to know it's an agent, it's easy to tag, right? They can generate a ZKP. But what do you do for like a malicious actor who's not actively doing it? Kind of they need to go into like proof of humanity type stuff, right? Then like we have like I guess WorldCoin is like one of the solutions. Although I think that WorldCoin is probably already like very heavily sibled, to be honest.
Yeah. And
So
dystopian as
like
well.
very dystopian too. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like sure, like I kind of get it on the one hand, like you want people to be able to prove that they are human, but that's actually like extremely difficult to do so to figure out if something originates from a human.
Isn't like wouldn't DID, so decentralized identity, somehow come into play here? So some kind of ZK, right, proved identity KYC initially, right? But then once you have it, and over time being able to kind of track and look at an entity's history and reputation and interactions and use that.
Yes, except like we noticed that with our airdrop, like nowadays there's symbols out there who have access to thousands of like KYC accounts, even
Okay.
access to like passports to verify. So I'm not sure like how they do it. I kind of assume that they kind of like farms, or at least like they went to all their neighbors, right, and got like the passports from them, etc. But so at least like it, especially like since like lots of projects with like Athena and stuff like over the last year, for civils at least, it's become like possible for them to get like thousands of like verified Binance accounts, etc. Things where like 3 to 4 years ago we thought, well, if you have like 2 or 3 of these accounts, it's going to be like basically impossible for you to be like running hundreds of these. And I wonder, like for really sophisticated ones, if they have like tens of thousands that would potentially like pass all these tests. I definitely think like state actors could be able to pass this, right? So if you're like sure like airdrop I don't really think is like that important in the grand scheme of things in the world, but let's say like the US government or the Chinese government, right? Like how many convincing DIDs could you set up? How much misinformation could you potentially spread through AI chatbots on Twitter that do actually have like the human tag with it, that do pass all these verifications? I think right now with the tech we have to do human verification, it's probably massive what they could do disinformation wise. I don't think there's actually like a good solution for this at all yet. So that's the thing that frightens me the most actually with this agentic economy, because the only solution is just don't trust Twitter anymore, right? I think whatever you read, just don't believe it at all.
Yeah, meet in the town square with everyone and talk instead of reading it. I think we'll go back to the basics at some point.
That would
But
actually not be the worst
yeah,
outcome. We have a bunch of agents do like our work for us, send our
yeah,
emails, bureaucracy, and we three just go sit in the town square with a glass of wine and a chessboard during the
yeah,
day, just chill out.
like in an old Italian town.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But we for example, one of our clients, they're working on decentralized ID in LATAM. Actually, they built one of the founders of this company. He built one of the first verifiable protocols, verifiable credential protocols for a city that is in the city of Buenos Aires. And he created this protocol called Quark ID that is running actually today in the city. So if you have the driver licenses, for example, it runs on your phone.
Mm-hmm.
And then he spin out of he was the secretary of innovation of the city, and he left and created the startup to do the same, to generalize that protocol and build the tech for other local governments, because their approach is, hey, many countries need to do a 0 to 1 in all of these solutions, and kind of like what China did with 5G in telecommunications. He's trying to help Latin America do the same thing for identity. Like there's no standards. There are many local governments are very bad at tech because identity depends on local governments. In some stuff, it is on the federal level, like the passport, but a driver license is local. And I don't know, in Argentina, probably a small state doesn't know how to even deal with all of this AI stuff, or what's going to be the best tech in order to have something that works online. So they're using our stack so they can help migrate and upgrade the identity stack and solutions they're building. And at the same time, it will standardize the whole thing, because each government that adopts this tech is going to have an interoperable protocol between each other. So that will allow you to build new financial services or web applications using this new identity stuff. Like if you upgrade them and it's something verifiable, in the future you can create a collateralized, for example, loans in DeFi using that identity protocol. But it comes from the government. It's a completely different approach from the others. It's like, okay, identity depends in local governments, because in the end you are who you are because you were born in a certain hospital and your parents registered there, and then you went to school in that place, and all of those credentials and kind of logs are going to matter, and it needs a certain new technology. The company is called Sobra, and they already have more, I think in total with the latest announcement, more than 6 million users, and they're actually live using this tech, and they are upgrading to our solution so it runs completely on our rollup on top of Ethereum.
Oh, that's very cool.
And
So
then
it's
we need
already
to
live with
yeah,
the roll-up stack on the lines.
yeah. The tech is already working in testnet, and we're working. We need to finalize audits, that kind of stuff, so we can be mainnet. Of course, it's very sensitive because the timeline is not the normal crypto native product, because in the end you have citizens of of states, and you answer back to people who are very careful, right? Um,
Yeah, and
but
this I guess
they're
like
working on the solution.
and this is also something where the solution needs to be alive for not years but decades, right?
Yeah,
I heard some
exactly.
people say like the Blast L2 being deprecated already, right? Like in crypto, we see products kind of like disappear within a couple of years. But this is definitely something where it has to keep running, I guess, even more than decades, probably, as like the
Yeah,
Cortex.
that's why they also some of the things that we have been realizing is many of these clients, they want decentralized L2s because they really like the feature of Ethereum that is 100% uptime and that is secure. And if someone tries to attack them, in the end, they're relying on infrastructure that is neutral and is backed by a market, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what our tech stack, the L2 stack that we're building, is using base sequencing, so they can decentralize the rollup. And in the end, if someone wants to attack them, the identity protocol, for example, can always be 100% up, and people can continue their lives using them. And if
Yeah.
you go to DevCon, in the website, you can see a thing that says Quark ID,
Okay.
and it allows you, if you have the protocol in Argentina, you can get the ticket for free. So you can check uh,
Yeah,
how it
that's
works.
very cool. I guess we then entered the like especially you mentioned under collateralized loans, right? Like if you have DID on chain, you can actually do true loans. I guess then to be honest, like if you have like verifiable agents with like a DID associated for the owner, you can have those agents once again do uncollateralized loans as well, and basically broadcast it down. This is quite interesting. That I wondered, Shamir, are agents always honest in a sense? Because I wondered, like with these like various payment standards, etc., right? Like the agent requests access to a resource, server says, please pay for this, agent does pay. Um, in your experience, when you build these products, do they actually like comply with this, or do they try to circumvent and say, oh, I got like a request in that I need to pay for something, let me try like a different way to like access this resource, something like that? Because I feel like if agents are always like honest in a sense, like truly enforced to be honest, then you could do under collateralized loans as well, right? Because there's no risk of them running away with the money. It's kind of like the model itself is forced to ensure that it can always repay.
Yeah, I don't know if I have a, so far what we're seeing is yes. I mean, they're basically doing as told, as defined. But that being said, we're not at the under collateralized loan phase quite yet. In that, there still is an error. There still is an error, and occasionally you will see the agent divert from kind of your initial, your initial prompt, initial intent. And I think, we're starting to see, again, like these whole ecosystems form around it. Google recently came out with AP2 or A2P, which, the whole idea of intent mandates, right? And being able to really kind of try to buckle up the alignment between what the agent executes and what the user at the end of the day wants. But we're not there. So to answer your question, we don't see it a lot, that diversion. But even if it happens 1% of the time, that's probably too much to deal with large sums of money.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that would be good in utopian worlds, right? Like you'd have verifiable agents, an agent like cannot deviate and cannot break the law at all. Hence, like as a DeFi protocol, actually, if you know something is like 100% an agent, you're actually free to give loans to this entity because it'll like internally ensure that's capable of repaying. And so then technically an agent is actually a better customer than a regular user, right?
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah. Interesting food for thought. Guys, we're nearing the end of the Union Hall cast. We heard like a little bit what's next for Ensemble. For Alliance, I feel like there's like a ton of stuff happening at the same time. RJ, what's kind of like the next big thing to look out for? Should our
Yeah.
community jump into?
So so for the community, what we're doing is building a platform called CK Arcade. Basically, our technology is very B2B. Like we're onboarding institutional enterprises. So for community people, it's very hard to test the technology and play around with it. So what we decided to do is build on top of a line using our tech and an arcade, basically using CK, so people can play different very simple games. One of them requires you to install something in your terminal and run a prover on your computer. Another one is just from the browser, so people can test a line and participate and have fun and see that it's actual platform that is running on mainnet. And we are auditing this, so we can put it publicly very soon. And we are running with many of our partners. I think with Union, we're doing this as well, like a giveaway for the NFT that is the ticket in order to play in this platform. So we're going to do a first NFT collection that is exclusive for 700 people, and they will be able to be the first people that play around with the platform. And after that, we will open something more for everyone, so everyone can test the technology. And then by the end of the year, we'll have some of these clients already live in mainnet, and we can show the world how this technology is being used to onboard millions of users. And that's something that we're super excited. And I think maybe it aligns with DevConnect in Buenos Aires. So hopefully we can announce some stuff in our city.
Very, very nice. Very cool. Yeah, looking forward to participating myself as well and playing around with some of this stuff. Because I think like Succinct did something similar, so I'm going to be evaluating if you guys like managed to beat them in coolness factor for this.
I think they were able to do more custom stuff because they run the provers.
Mm-hmm.
Our approach was we want people to run the proofs. So we decided to use, and then the games are a little different, but I think it is in a very good place, and people are liking the style. So yeah, hopefully we can receive feedback and everyone can play and have some fun and send some proofs.
Awesome. And then the final closing words for Ensemble. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. Again, thanks for having us. We love Union's ecosystem, and hopefully, Corel's intern will be a useful resource for you guys. So I invite anyone and everyone in the community to go check it out. Test it, stress test it, tag it. And then please share your feedback, because we're looking to make it much better. If you're an ecosystem, if you're running another ecosystem and interested in a similar agent to deploy, again, just ping us. And here's to a safe, trustless, right, agentic future. It's going to be tough, but I really feel like, again, RJ, stuff that you guys are building, the interop layer Corel that you guys are building, we're looking to use these types of primitives and kind of building blocks to build something that allows humans and agents to be able to collaborate and trust each other better.
Very cool. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining. I'm sure to check in on both of you in a couple of months. Sorry again for thinking you had already been on, but I truly mistook our initial long conversation.
All good, man. No, all good. Excited to be here. Thanks.
Yeah, and we'll check back in. I'll come with some reviews on the intern in a couple of weeks for you. See how far I can push it.
Yeah, he's your intern, Corel. You can fire him if you want. So.
All right, and thanks everyone for checking in. We'll be back next week with another Union Hall cast. Cheers, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks.